United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion by Carmel. Is there a second? Second by Tate. Discussion? Hearing none, in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. No public comment tonight, right?
Right.
Okay, then we'll look for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Scott. Is there a second? A second by Julie. Discussion?
I'd like to just throw a shout out to Leanne Atkinson for her years of sharing her gifts and talents with our students. We've got some amazing artists in our district, and she has really done just a yeoman's work to enhance and to motivate those kids to strive to be the best they can.
Yep.
And also wondering if we could get a little bit more information about that facilitation and coordinator. I know I read through the contracts, but explain a little bit more what that's all about and kind of the details and why we're going that route. And
With the WCCO program?
yeah.
If you don't mind if I defer to Melissa,
Sure,
since
no.
it's on that committee.
Yep.
Sure, so, the WCCO program is our new class, in partnership with RTO Boot and UCMS. And, we, in order to try to be innovative and, have one of the best programs around, we decided it would be important and work well to have two teachers in that rather than one. So we have Lucy Smith and Cheryl Blazer sharing the position. And so, Denise is our contact with us already, and Cheryl is 15. And Patrick is from New Zealand, and is the one that leads the this program. And he has been a consultant with us in the last 18 months as we've done our student And so this is basically an in and out for the school district because this is figured into our year one budget. And right now our budget consists of business contributions, and we have like 22,500 contributions right now. And when we originally got this grant, it was for 32,500. And then just last week, due to COVID and kind of the turning the economy and where we're at with support, I reapproached the list committee and asked if we could receive the full $50,000, and I got the response on Friday, yes, and now we fully funded them at $50,000.
Good deal. All right, any other discussion? Otherwise, hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Communications report, we got Mr. Jim Trulock here tonight.
Good evening, I'm not staying in there, if you guys don't mind, but I like to come just to push that questions. I won't read number one, this is going to give you a general idea of the office hours like these guys are, and we're different, we're trying to figure out safe things, safe as we can for our coaches and our kids, and a lot of practices are on their way. The State High School League gives some ideas on how you should be doing it, that's what they learned from NDU and all that. This is kind of the dates that they've are allowing for it to go on. With the understanding, obviously, if there's all of a sudden a breakout, a lot of positive tests, then things can change on a daily basis. This is kind of what we're following. So we have started weight room. We're allowing no more than 8 people in a weight room and the weight room at a time. We disinfect in between each shift. We're only allowing our coaches that you guys approved last year. If they were not approved coaches last year, we're not allowing them to supervise weight room or do any of the coaching. And just tonight, I met with 3 more before they coach. I also required them to come in so we can go through a packet of all guidelines and everything else. I want to make sure we're covering our bases so that we're all on the same page. If you can just email it out, that we are requiring a meet in person. Again, we started some girls basketball practices, boys basketball, volleyball, football, weight room, and dance. And they're not going, so to speak, hog wild around or anything. There's they meet 2 times a week, the girls basketball, boys basketball, and volleyball. And the dance has about 6 or 7 throughout the whole month of July. And it might go the first week of August as well, since the state high school moved that date back. Any questions on that? One thing, usually Sue sends out stuff that I just think we should keep our activity fees and that kind of stuff the same this year. And I don't know if that was supposed to be on August, but a weird year for people and stuff. It's probably not the right time to increase it. With that said, number 3, I wanted to explain. Last year, we made an adjustment about how people pay their fee. One is, well, I gave 3 reasons there. One, again, help families out. We want to really promote. The second one, kids to be involved, and this is going to save you some money if they are. But it was also trying to help us simplify a little bit. The sad thing is this year it actually made it more difficult to track, because what they did was they would pay their activity fee in the fall, and maybe they would be in musical and pay that, and they pay basketball, and then all of a sudden the spring sport season came, and they came in and said, hey, could you figure everything we paid all year? And I think we're at the 200 or we're close. And that, it was really it was difficult. So what I'd like us to do for that 200 per person, and I did put in there, that doesn't, the BPA is different because that's the state dues, and there's some things that it doesn't cover, but pretty much if they're out for a sport, if they're in musical, the one act, any of those types of things, any type of activity, it goes towards that. So if they're involved in a lot, they go noticeably over that. And then 400 for a family, again, trying to help out. What I'd really like us to do, just for the sake of bookkeeping, is that they have to pay that upfront, their first activity. Now, Kim and I talked a little, well, I can't see. Kim, I'm walking over there and pulling that, okay? Sorry. Kim and I talked a little bit, and if it'll get to the point where it was a problem for a family financially, with that said, oftentimes the people that are agreeing to this, they're paying a minimum fee of $25 a week. So it's greatly reduced already from like our 9 to 12 feet. So the likelihood they get that 200 probably is not likely at all. But if it would be a hardship, or it's a different year, mom and dad, maybe one of them wants to travel for a while, things like that, we're really good about they can come in and talk to us and make arrangements. So they don't promote to them, do that when we're at the same goal. But I just think that would make it so convenient. The family comes in and got 3, 4 kids, and they're out for fall sports, right back, one thing, check 400, before most get paid the remainder of the year. Or if they want to pay 200, and just make it very convenient. Again, with the understanding that if there was a special circumstance, something that couldn't be doing, we'll have to come out for that. So that's one thing I'd like the board to consider adjusted in our handbook, rather than just those fees saying it should be paid. Any questions on that? Okay. Fall practices break together the day before school starts. The 17th, and that's across the board. This is one season that everybody, all of us athletics start the exact same day. And then you'll see in the consent agenda and the recommendations again. They're not actually hired, we can have them sign contracts each season. And so none of this is finished yet. We don't know what's going on with the season. But it's nice to have a little head start. I checked with almost everybody before willing to come back and so on. So this is the majority of them. I have opened up the cross-country position. We either have to hire someone to drive them, or if we have a coach, then we usually let them be one of the full bands and so on. So and it's nice to have one to promote the sport in our own building as well, to start getting those numbers out. I've had one person show interest so far in that. And then also down, depends on the number of Lindsay Bosch, really depends on how soon your goals, if they should has time and what the numbers are in the tennis programs. It said one way or the other should be volunteer, should be able to, And there's a possibility she could go coach, she does that this time. I'm sure that it's. And I am still working on Mary Marcus resigned last year as a concession person, so I do have somebody in mind. I've talked to a couple different times. And I'll have to talk to her in the next couple of weeks, as the season approaches. Hopefully know more in the next 2 weeks as to if we're gonna have season and what we're gonna have this season. But that's all I have this month.
Jim, on those fees, is that something you're gonna recommend in August to vote on? Or is that something you want to approve tonight?
So when I don't, the only benefit tonight would be as if people start not to pay ahead of time. Otherwise, we're 7 days before the start of the season. I think some people are longer than do their paperwork now. So it'd be beneficial to do it now.
We decided on the business item.
So your recommendation is to leave all the fees the same with the exclusion of this $400 thing, right?
Yeah, we just keep that amount the same, just, we can't be figuring next spring what they pay. If they're going to take advantage of that special, they should pay for its first season involved in basketball, then yeah. So, yes, we're pretty flexible. If there's special circumstances, we will.
Otherwise, it's $80 first.
For varsity sport, yeah,
Okay.
and $25 for the other.
So if somebody intends to play 3 sports and decides in the spring not to, we give a refund if they pay the $200 upfront?
No. That's just if they want to take advantage of that, if they change their mind. And that, if they did do 3 sports, so that's $240. And then, if they're involved in musical, the one act, spring play, there's another $7. They could notice if they save some money. They didn't want to be able to be included in that with knowledge more, all those, and you can see they can, if they're, this is promoting them being involved in many things, and then they would almost cut their cost in half if they would do all those things.
I really like the idea of it, but I'm questioning it for this year. Because what if we get into football and that's fine, and then all of a sudden there's no more sports the rest of the year? Now what do we do with that person that paid the $200? I mean, I like the idea, it's a good.
In those circumstances, where we cancel, I would think we would have to refund. Last spring we chose not to. But they're not losing the money. They want to put the lunch out, want to put balls, activities that are.
Yeah.
Just it should not write that law. It didn't make sense to write that in the check box. We're getting that. In the case that forward would cause that, no, we're not going to put the bill. But like Carmel said, once it gets this, decides on that wrong track, they lost pretty well.
Either way, it's gonna be a tracking nightmare.
Right.
Even if they just do one thing.
No, with COVID starts messing things up versus just keeping it the way it is for one more year. I don't know.
So either way, it's
It could be, yeah.
so we can approve this and would not make it any more difficult.
Hey, who knows? We'll get lucky and we have everything all year long and then it's perfect.
And I'm fine, if you want to keep it one more year, I'll put this on the agenda for next year, hopefully everything's back to normal. I do, down the road, I think this could be real beneficial for us. But I do understand this is a strange year, and keep it as is.
We want to keep it as is, or we want to add it to 8.6, or call it 8.6.
I wonder how many people would take advantage of it just because of the COVID thing, being, them not knowing and just thinking, well, we'll just pay as we go. Maybe not.
Yeah, either way is fine with me.
I think as long as they know that they can get their money back, if it's COVID related, people will probably take it.
So you guys make the big one.
Or if somebody wants to make a motion now and we can, with Jim here to talk more about it, or we don't have to have anything.
Want me to present it again next go out?
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay, so,
yeah.
all right, there's nothing else, I'm heading out, thank you guys.
Yep, thanks, Jim.
Thanks,
Okay, Sherry, you're up.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to share that my whole report today is going to be about everything COVID. It's what we do every day, all day long. The first thing is I checked with the MSBA attorney on whether or not we need to approve a change of the calendar, and the answer is no, we don't have to. I just need to let you all know that we have, Jenna, Melissa, and I pulled all of the staff development days out of the regular school year and are allowing incredible flexibility for our teachers to come in between this Wednesday, July 15th and August 10th to do whatever 3 days worth of work they need to do. That's how many days that we would have pulled out the year. We may be pulling one more, I'm not sure yet. We haven't heard, but this allows our teachers to prepare for anything they have to do, whether it's all the second grade teachers maybe want to team teach, or special ed has these 18 different things they have to do, or maybe high school math wants to do something together working on standards. But we're giving them a huge amount of time because some of them might have had a resort planned for a certain week. So we didn't want to conflict with that, but we don't have to ask your approval to change the calendar because we're not changing hours that students attend. We're not changing days that teachers work. We're not increasing them or decreasing them. So just an FYI for all of you. And we will provide whatever the teachers say they need during these July 15th through August 10th, whether it's technology, resources, speakers, whatever it might be, to allow them to be ready to go back into the classroom. So, the second, any questions on that?
We have staff that are maybe concerned about coming back into the building because of underlying health conditions, and how are we going to address that?
Yeah, we've already reached out to them. And we will respect the fact that they are medically fragile, or someone in their home is medically fragile. And so between Judd and Melissa, we have either Judd, I know, has reached out by phone to each of them that reached out to him, and I think Melissa's about to do that. And they have a contract. These people have contracts to work for us this year. So one of the big next moves for us now that we know that is who's working from home, what is their job going to be, how will they serve the needs of our kids and our other teachers. And we also will have some students that won't be coming to school, but we'll still be distance teaching them. So the second part of my report is going to be a story. And in telling you this story, I am going to try to hit on as many points as I can about what life will be like if we come back in either all persons or a hybrid learning system. Here's my story. 2 kids are about to get on the bus on the morning of August 17th. And we will expect that those 2 kids coming to McRae on the morning of the 17th, one's a high schooler, one's an elementary, are going to get on a bus that is sanitized from the ceiling of the bus to the floor. The first 2 are going to pick a row 5, move directly to the back of the bus. And they take the 2 seats there. So these 2 kids go to the back of the bus. They might pass a bus driver that is wearing a mask, maybe a shield, maybe gloves, maybe even PPE body covering. You get on the bus stops the next route. There's 2 seats that are alternating, and the next kids get on that row. And so one of the things that we have done to prepare this is created a green group of students and bus routes and the blue group of students and bus routes, so that we can alternate days. So these 2 kids are on their bus. The bus is now, according to our scenario 2, our bus is 50% full. And the 3 of us met one day and we spent 11 hours and we went through this to make sure the routes weren't too full. And while we were doing it, Judd and Melissa watched the classes to make sure that the classes were split as close as we could 50-50. So these 2 kids arrive here in Clare City. The younger one needs to go on to a shuttle to get to, let's say, West Elementary. The high school kid gets off here, the student gets off here, and the shuttle well, I'm gonna start with high school kid. Comes into this building, temp check, symptoms check. Well, we haven't done that in the past, have we? Who's gonna do that? That's an employee needed. The younger boy continues on, the younger child continues on to West Elementary, gets off the shuttle, which is 50% maximum capacity. Last year, those buses were full. Now we're 50% maximum capacity. We may have, instead of 2 shuttle buses going to West Elementary or 3, we might have 4 or 5 or 6, which means some of them are going to have to wait here, but students cannot congregate. They cannot stand in lines unless they're all 6 feet apart from each other, which means we're either looking for one or both. Parents to stay with the kids while they wait for that shuttle to come back and pick them up and take them back. And let's not forget, in the meantime, we can't reload a bus until it's been sanitized again. So we drop off the first bus that goes over there after it was sanitized after the route, pulls 50% of the load of kids over there, comes back here, gets cleaned again. Now remember, we might have, 50 kids standing here waiting, not congregating, not standing in line. Somebody has to supervise those kids. That means some more paraprofessionals. We're talking about that these 2 kids coming to school at McRae or anywhere in Minnesota that's following these 3 scenarios need to be supervised, and we need to hire some people to do it. Because we also are talking about soft beginnings to the day and soft endings. So we're not going to count any student absent because they're not in that classroom sitting in the seat at 8 a.m. because they may still be waiting to get on a bus. Another note, we need more bus drivers. Anybody know bus drivers? These kids, we need bus drivers. Okay, so finally, the high school kids here coming at breakfast. 50% capacity of this room. They can't go through a line, or they're standing in line. The kitchen people that they will see will be either masked up, have shields, possibly garb and gloves. But if kids are standing in a line, you know what kids want to do. These kids, they want to talk, they want to whatever. Okay, so now we got to figure out what we're going to do with the kids waiting to eat breakfast. We haven't even started school yet, remember? So now let's say the high school student has had breakfast and is ready for first hour Phi-Ed. We are encouraging our physical education teachers to take kids outside for physical education every day as long as they can into the fall, to save up space in the building if we need to separate more kids in classrooms. If we didn't get it exactly. Okay, so let's go back to the little sibling at West Elementary now waiting for breakfast. Same deal over there. Are we going to put trays out on tables and kids walk to a tray? We've already decided we're doing barcodes for everybody. So no kids have to punch buttons. Nobody's touching screens. Zip your barcode. Be waiting. So both kids are eating now. The high school student is in Phi-Ed going outside somewhere because we know that going outside is safer than being inside, especially in something with physical education. Let's say the little one at the elementary school has music first up at 8 o'clock. They're also going to go outside. We're asking our music teachers, band and choir and elementary music, to take kids outside to sing, play their instruments as long as they possibly can into the fall. Okay? So now they're in their classes. Let's say both of them, one's in science, maybe they're in biology. Maybe the one in high school is in biology. Mrs. Carmody might only have 12 kids in her second hour biology class because we have split the classes. The one at West Elementary might have 10 kids in the class, depending on the number of kids total. So fast forward through the morning, We have taught kids how to sanitize their hands and wash. There's a difference between cleaning and sanitizing. Somebody said, what if they go to the bathroom? Then because we can't go and watch them, it's scalded that they go into, how do we clean? Somebody said we mitigate. We're asked to mitigate, not make. We can't make 100% sure that every bathroom stall and flusher and door turner has been washed all day or sanitized all day long. So we're gonna fast forward to lunch. Same deal. In the high school, the student in the high school is gonna come in, possibly, again, only have enough seats here to be seated. 15 minutes, the food possibly will be on the places. Kids do the barcode when they walk in, go sit at a place, eat their food. In 15 minutes, we switch. The other group just went out and they're doing something outside. Again, another supervisor, or in the gym. Then they flip. There's a good side to that, and that's that movement that they're maybe going to get 15 minutes more movement. Then they head back to class. So then we have another lunch that's the same way here, and another lunch that's the same way. Are we going to have enough kitchen staff? So let's say this is the blue week, and we go through the rest of the afternoon, and Melissa and Judd, I think the teachers have spoken and said they would like Tuesday, Wednesday, blue group, Thursday, Friday, green group. So every student, every family in the district right now is a blue or a green family on route and in the classroom numbers. So now let's say it's Wednesday afternoon. We gotta remember these blue kids that are free and reduced lunch kids need to eat lunch tomorrow, and any of the, we're still trying to figure this out. Any of the next group that come in that also want to eat and pay for it, we need to have lunches for them. We could do one of two things. Send those lunches home now for Thursday and Friday, or send the buses all out after they do all the shuttles the next morning. Remembering that special ed kids we may want some of our special ed kids here every day, depending on their IEPs. So there's some kids that may walk home with bags of lunches for the next 2 days. And all those kinds of things. So it's the end of the day, now we do the shuttles in reverse. What time do we start sending kids from east and west back here? And what time does the student that's here, while we're waiting for the elementary kids? You see what I'm getting at here as I tell you this story? It's almost impossible to know how many more paras we're gonna need, how many more bus drivers we're gonna need. Are we gonna need more kitchen staff? And part of it has to do with who can and who can't work, who can supervise from a distance, who can teach from a distance. Those are some of the things that I think, as a parent, I would wanna know that my kid is being taken care of by reducing the class sizes, reducing the amount, increasing space around the kids. But that's gonna be what the life of our kids is gonna be like. Melissa, any top couple things that I haven't thought of? There's a million other things that the three of us have talked about. But, most people don't care about the other 95% of how did we arrive at the decisions and no, we're not trading. I'm not trading a blue for your green.
Just wondering, I know I've heard a lot of districts are gonna serve the meals right in their first classroom that they go to. So the kids come, they get screened, they get symptomized, then they go to the first classroom. Did you guys talk about the pros and cons of that? And what would be the cons to that versus in here?
The cons are the food lingers in the room for the rest of the day. If there's spillage, spaghetti, milk cartons sitting in the garbage, the extra cleaning, it's easier to clean in here and quicker to clean in here, thereby saving some labor time that we can't afford to lose. And I believe it allows that teacher the time to be in his or her classroom, prepping if they need that extra prep without having to feel like they have to supervise lunch, because they don't supervise lunch now unless they're assigned to that. So that would be going above and beyond their contract.
So you're thinking a blue and a green group Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday? So if you're Thursday, Friday, are you gonna clean on Wednesday night in between the two groups?
Yep.
Okay,
I talked about too, is getting stickers, so in the classroom, you would have, blue desks and green desks, so if you come in, and it's a blue day, you sit at the blue desk. And then if you're green, you sit at the green desk, so if the blue are in, they can sit at the green desk.
so have you considered doing 1 week blue group, the next week green group?
We did forever until last week. I have been in contact with many area schools, and I was hearing nobody flip-flopping week per week. And the number one concern is lost learning. And the reason we said originally week per week is we just thought this would be really easy for families. You know, I just know I have to find daycare this week, and then not for a week, then next week, then not for the week. But not most, all the other schools I talked to are doing alternating days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We surveyed our teachers today and overwhelmingly in favor of the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday. There was a small percentage of people who said 20% they wanted 1 week on site and 1 week.
Over the 5 days schools, it was like every other day or 2 days, 1 week, 3 days next.
5-day week schools are actually being allowed with a good plan to go to a 4-day week.
Oh.
And I know one, and I don't want to say it here because it's not my place, who has asked to do a 4-day week and possibly have Wednesday be the cleaning day. Or do a 4-day week and have Mondays be the days we communicate with parents, kind of a prep day for everybody, a distance study hall kind of day. So there's all different kinds of ways to do it.
What about the, like junior high athletes that aren't here on the day that they have practice and they don't drive and that's a routine, or they're just off them, they don't practice, or?
Yeah, I don't know, we haven't thought about that one. We had some questions this morning that teachers had asked us that we hadn't thought about. In spite of the fact that we have, I don't know how many full days we put in, there's still questions that we don't know the answer to. And it might be such a thing that parents have to drive. We have asked if any parents would be willing to give their kids a ride to school to lessen that full shuttle system. I mean, kids aren't learning anything while they're standing here waiting for a shuttle bus to come.
Will the kids be required as staff to wear masks or shields when they're?
Good question. Good question. We know absolutely that there are some special ed kids and teachers and paraprofessionals working with those kids that have already indicated they want masks, they want shields, they want the whole body thing, and they want gloves. And we will provide that for anybody who wants it. And we told them that this morning, and to let Kathy Schuler know that we just ordered 100 shields from Impact. And we'll watch our that's another thing to do is watch our inventory. How many gloves do we have? How many masks do we have? How many? And yes, we need to provide those for any teacher who wants those. Music teachers especially, I think, that maybe want to have shields also.
So how about the days that the kids, well, back to the hybrid plan, the blue group and the green group? Would the blue group be doing distance learning on their
Yes.
days that?
Yep. So, and again, we have to be careful that we're not, the teachers have a contract that says this is when they work. So what we shared with the teachers today is when you plan your lesson for this is what my blue group that's right here with me is doing. What is the enrichment? What is the rigorous learning that the kids at home might be doing that supports what's happening in the classroom? And then the next week when the green group comes in, they get the same lesson that the blue group got from the teachers, and the kids that are at home are doing the enrichment. We use the example of a 7th grade U.S. history. First day, we're going to learn about the Constitution. So these are the kids where I'm doing my introductory lesson. I'm going to have read a little something. And Melissa's enrichment lesson is to go on YouTube, find the Star Spangled Banner, she said. And how does that correlate to the Constitution? And that's an enrichment part of that lesson that I think would be good for kids. Of course, everything that we're doing, we just used CARES Act funding, I think I told you last time, to buy new technology so all of our kids grades 3 through 12, nobody has a piece of technology, a device that's older than 3 years old. That's our goal.
So does that CARES money pay for all the extra masks and everything you have to purchase?
That covered just the technology we're gonna buy for 3rd through 6th grade this year. Everything else, more paras, more bus routes translates to more expenses for us. More cooks translate to more expenses. So all the plexiglass shields, Kim reached out to Troy Sweet. He's gonna make our plexiglass shields. He's starting with, I don't know, what'd you say, 14, 15 of them that we'll for sure have at our front desks for clerical people. And then we'll go from there. Who else needs them? Special ed said I kind of like a little barrier here between me and my student I'm working with here.
You might want to reach out to the counties. The counties are getting a lot of the COVID CARES Act dollars. I don't know if they're available to school districts or not, but it's in the millions, each county. And
I just saw that in the lower paper.
the EDAs are going to be the ones that distribute those to organizations and entities and whatnot. So perhaps we could get some from Candy Lake County and from Chippewa County, cover PPE, to cover some staffing, things like that. So, and I think they're coming up with a new payroll protection program. Are we able to, the PPP program, are we able to get into that so that if we could use that to save some of our staff dollars and to hire some new staff, it would kind of off the costs would offset?
I haven't personally seen that yet. I don't know if Kim has seen the new PPP stuff, but yeah. Checking it. That's what we're working on, trying to see whatever we can use for COVID expenses. And since March 15th, when we did this end about and went to distance learning, we started tracking just COVID related expenses. And it wasn't too bad, I don't think, in the spring, but boy, it's going to be a lot different now when we know that our busing needs to be like this and cleanliness of the building, those kinds of things.
Is it feasible to take the child's temperature before they get at the desk? Because my thought is, in this elementary school, he gets on the initial bus. Okay, he gets on, rides with all the kids to the high school, gets off, stands in line with all the kids. Then he gets on the shuttle bus with all the kids and goes to the elementary school. And now it's temperature taken. And if he has a meter, he possibly gets infected. All those kids, I don't know if it's feasible or.
We've thought about that. Where do we do this? And by the way, there's not gonna be a lot of kids on the bus. Some of these bus routes, I was in charge of bus routes that day we were doing this. It depends. We have some families of 5 that could fill that whole back row of a bus that really gets us more than the 11 kids on a 77 passenger bus. But we've talked about what can the driver realistically do. In order for a driver, one of the constraints that a bus driver has is, number one, they're to never leave the bus. So we would have to hire somebody to be on each route then to do that. And some of the thermometers, like if it's January and it's 10 below 0, the thermometer will read lower anyway. Or if it's 90 degrees in September, it might read higher. So we can't have the drivers even doing that. We've even talked about, can the driver get off the bus? In order for the driver to get off the bus and get away from the student who's going to be walking past him or her, the driver has to stop, pull over in the correct place, stop the bus, take the keys out, exit and stand to the side. And that's fine for the first load of kids getting on the bus. But after you've got kids on the bus, you really don't want the driver leaving that seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have any other ideas, call me.
So can you send a letter and really recommend taking your temperature before you get up, or before you get on the bus that morning, or, just stress to parents to be proactive about it,
We certainly can try.
Yeah.
We certainly can try. Some of the other things that will happen during the day, when kids are feeling sick, and if they get to that 102 threshold, I believe it is, our school nurse starts this week. But when it gets to that threshold, and that's that sudden onset, we cannot allow them to be in our health rooms. We have to have a different room completely that is just for a student that may have COVID-19, and a person to monitor them. So we can't pull Lindsay and Katie and Sue and Kathy out of their work to go and sit with a student who we think might be sick.
It would be the same thing if you took their temperature when they got to school and they had a fever. Their
But
parents have to come
we
and
have
get
to put
them,
them in their room.
isolation, and then their parents would have to come pick them up.
Yeah,
Well, it's nice out, you could have those tents like they had at the hospital. I don't know.
we have nice tents
Yeah,
in houses.
yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to look at something, we don't have enough rooms, I don't think,
No,
to make it all
it's,
work.
the elementaries do not have enough rooms.
That's what
We have one that we've allocated here, but then something else goes. That's how it is. So there's my story so far.
And so now we just wait to see what the governor says at the end of the month, then we march ahead with either in person or
Or hybrid.
hybrid or online.
Yep, and, knowing we start school early, three of us have really intentionally spent a lot of time on this upfront. Because we have to be ready. We, and it could be 2 weeks in and we go, all of a sudden we might have X number of cases, and then we all of a sudden flip to distance learning. I was just talking to, Chris Boyd this afternoon about how do you know when you have to pivot? What's the magic pivot point, right? And so we don't know. Imagine if 5 teachers got it. There's not people walking the streets of any of our communities wanting to substitute teach anyway. So
if the governor or if the state comes with, each district can choose on their own, but method, what's our plan? I don't know
did
yet.
everybody hear the question? If the governor says each district chooses, if I had to choose right now and somebody said you have to let us know by 6:45, I guess I would say hybrid, because I think kids need to get together as much as they can. Our teachers need to meet the kids on the first weeks of school. And if we're taking all the precautions of sanitation and cleaning and social distancing and 50% of the kids in school, I think that is the very best thing we could do. We don't have room in any of our 3 buildings to bring everyone in. Because some schools that have lots of extra room are doing that. They're just saying, we're bringing all our kids in. But we do not have that space. And so that's what I think would be the best, Carmel, is to just give that a try. It's costly, and it will be difficult for parents to find daycare. We know that. We know that. But we also know the kids need to see us and we need to see them. And we need to do some laser-like assessing of where our kids are after having been distance learning for the last 2.5 months and then having a summer. There is an urgency to that.
I'd say we're probably lucky we are starting early, because I think there's definitely need for it.
And there are schools that are also asking for that special dispensation, and as long as you can prove why you need it. And a lot of schools are saying, I want to get going, we want our kids here, we want to get them in before anything else starts to spread too big and we get shut down again. So Kim, am I over by 10 minutes?
A long time ago.
We're at 10 minutes when I start asking questions.
Okay. So, I'm presenting, ICS has asked McCray to present on transportation, to probably about 100 different schools who really haven't started that process yet. And so I'm going to be sharing next week, with two other individuals, how Judd and Melissa and I, what it took. What did we do during those 11 hours that day? Those collective 33 hours we spent figuring out the blue and green groups and figuring out every bus route in every classroom, 1 through 12. We haven't gotten kindergarten. We just got that information. So,
All right, any questions? Thank you all for your work.
yeah,
It's gonna be a challenging times.
Judd and
It is
Melissa have worked
challenging.
long and hard on this, and Sunday nights even to be ready. And we just had a really good. We're really. I just want everybody to know we've surveyed parents 3 times. We've surveyed teachers 3 times. We've listened to what people said. We're applying it in all of our decision making. And if we can, I'd sure like to get a group of students together too at some point, if we can. So,
Well, I think our plan really mirrors with what NBE's plan is also. They did that statewide survey. And that was kind of what the majority of the parents did say also. Just get the kids back in the building, so.
and our parental opinions are very similar to what the state found as well. So, yep.
All right, if there's nothing else, we'll move on to business items. 8.1.
We'll make a motion to approve the 10-year LTFM plan.
Okay, we have a motion by Julie. Is there a second? Scott? Second by Scott. To approve the 10-year plan, for discussion. All right, hearing none. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 8.2.
I'll make a motion for the resolution establishing dates for filing affidavits of candidacy.
Okay, we have a motion by Julie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Carmel. And, being it's a resolution, Julie, please. It's, right after the, I don't know what page it is. Chapter 14 on the top.
Okay. Resolution establishing dates for filing affidavits of candidacy. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 2180, State of Minnesota as follows. Number 1, the period for filing affidavits of candidacy for the office of School Board Member of Independent School District 2180 shall begin on July 28, 2020 and close on August 11, 2020. An affidavit of candidacy must be filed in the office of the school district clerk, and the $2 filing fee paid prior to 5:00 p.m. on August 11, 2020. Number 2, the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause notice of said filing dates to be published in the official newspaper of the district at least 2 weeks prior to the first day to file affidavits of candidacy. Number 3, the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause notice of said filing dates to be posted at the administrative offices of the school district at least 10 days prior to the first day to file affidavits of candidacy. Number 4, the notice of said filing date shall be in substantially the following form. Notice of filing dates for election to the school board, Independent School District number 2180, McCray Public Schools, State of Minnesota. Notice is hereby given that the period for filing affidavits of candidacy for the office of school board member of Independent School District number 2180 shall begin on July 28, 2020, and shall close at 5 p.m. on August 11, 2020. Open seats are in voting districts 1, 3, and 6. The general election shall be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. At that election, 3 members, 1 from each district, 1, 3, and 6, will be elected to the school board for a term of 4 years each. Affidavits of candidacy are available from the school district business office. McRae High School, 711 Wolverine Drive, Forest City, Minnesota. The filing fee is $2. A candidate for this office must be an eligible voter, must be 21 years of age or more on assuming office, must have been a resident of the school district voting district from which the candidate seeks election for 30 days before the general election. They must have no other affidavit on file for any other office at the same primary or next ensuing general election. The affidavits of candidacy must be filed in the office of the school district clerk and the filing fee paid prior to 5 p.m. on August 11, 2020.
Thanks, Julie. Is there any discussion? Otherwise, this is not a roll call, is it, Kim? I don't see anything on that.
Well, it's a resolution, so I suppose, yeah.
Okay. All right, roll call, so we'll start with Tate.
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Carmel,
Yes.
I'm a yes, so resolution, I always forget,
Passed
accepted
and
and
adopted.
passed and adopted, thank you.
Yep,
Uh,
sorry, I missed that roll call there.
No, no problem. Someday I'll remember passed and adopted too. All right, 8.3.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the progress.
Okay, we have a motion by Scott. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Julie?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, discussion?
I have a couple thoughts. It's very specific for employees, but potentially we could have a student that is also a parent. And so wondering if we could just maybe tweak the language a little bit so it's inclusive of not only just employees, but also anybody in the facility, like a student and or employee or something like that.
How would you like that worded?
Well,
I know on the top it says employees there.
yeah, you know, support for breastfeeding, period. Get rid of employees. Breastfeeding mothers instead of employees. That would kind of be a catch-all for if we have any students that were parents too, so.
Yes, we can make those changes. No problem.
Okay,
Okay. Who made that? Scott, Julie, you guys okay with the
yeah,
change?
sure, yep.
It's just the top line there.
Well, and then two alt, it says.
Oh,
employees,
it's-
just change
oh,
it
I
to
see.
employees to mothers.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Melissa worked on a $600 grant to refurbish the room. I think the grant for a chair, a lamp, paint,
Eight run, and later than
Do we have even signage? I think we have to have signage that says all food community or something like that also.
and the locations there. Even people that play the ball game. Like we want to take the that.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Was hearing none. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 8.4.
I'll make a motion to approve 8.4, accept a $2,500 donation from Citizens Alliance Bank for unpaid lunch payments.
Okay, we have a motion by Carmel. Is there a second? Second by Scott. Discussion?
What was our balance do we have after this donation? Of unpaid accounts?
That would get us down to the 16,000, I think. We've had, well, I'm not sure. We've had several checks come in, so I don't have the running total at the moment. People are
I
out,
think when they called us, it might have been 20-ish,
yeah, just
but
under.
that would have been last May.
Okay, any other discussion?
We really appreciate their donation, FYI. Very, very generous donation to help bring that, pay for some of those unpaid lunch costs.
Right, any other discussion? Otherwise, hearing none, in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 8.5,
Make motion to approve the MSD membership and parts and services renewal.
okay, motion by Debbie, is there a second?
Second,
Second by Carmel. Discussion?
MSBA does so much for us. I think most of us in the office, and I hope you guys as well, feel there's value to you in MSBA. I mean, I talked to Terry Morrow just today about the calendar change, so it's good to know that we can call a free attorney for just quick questions.
Yep. All their emails too every day, or, I don't read them all, but, lately I've been reading the ones on what they think for school starting, so. Oh, all right, any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, meetings, we got a board meeting August 10th and September 14th, both at 6 PM. And there could be something in between, I suppose, but not right now. We'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second it.
Okay, a motion by Julie, second by Debbie to adjourn. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We're adjourned at 6:57. Thanks for coming tonight.